All right. All right, there is no public comment, so Wendy, if you'd like to go over your management report.
Sure. The Forsyth Academy Voices report, we're actually meeting with two members of the Forsyth Academy Voices on tomorrow, to kind of launch out, check in, see where they are, what we need to do for the upcoming school year, and so forth. And at that time, I will also inquire about the tax status that you guys had asked about. Have they done their taxes, or the audit piece? Have they done an audit in these past 2 years? So I'm going to ask if I can get a financial document for the next board meeting, just to say, here's where they are, here's what they have, and here's what they've done. So that's going to be something I will talk with them tomorrow about. The principal's report, do you guys want me to pull it up, or someone pull it up? Or
hang on, I can pull it up. Let me get to it.
Thanks, Derek. By the way, I have Christy Harnsberger, my K2 dean, with me today. It's her principal in training. All right, thanks, Derek. The first portion there you can see is where we're sitting for this coming school year enrollment. We have had a very healthy boost of applications and enrolling and engagement. We're super excited about the fact that, based upon what we see here, we feel pretty confident that if in majority of the grade levels, if not all of them, that we will start full come August the 18th. So we've been able to do that through the decision of oversubscribing. So you will see those available seats. There's still some negative numbers there. We believe within the next couple of weeks, as the registrars in the public schools are now back in, that this is where we start to see the heaviest of records requests, people withdrawing and going to different schools. So we think that that will definitely slough off, as I call it, and shake out within the next couple of days, if not next week, where we'll be able to start school with our regular numbers there. But I am just in awe over the fact that our wait list at this juncture is at 167 applications. That is the highest that we've had, and I cannot tell you when. So people are wanting to come to Forsyth Academy, and I'm just super excited about that. So we want to capitalize on that as much as we can. Any questions on the enrollment for this coming school year? Okay. There were no follow-up from the previous meetings. We look over there, the bullying and the food quality didn't have that because we had not had any summer pieces or school since we were out for summer. And the highlights, you can see the recent events. We did have different summer schools and camps going on. We had a third grade Read to Achieve camp for those students in third grade that had not met a reading pathway by the end of the school year. Then they were invited to come to a summer camp where they had ongoing intensive reading, and then had an opportunity to be able to retake the test again to meet that pathway. We were able to capture some of those students during that summer camp to be able to indicate and show that they do have mastery on that. So that was a good turnaround for those kiddos. Then we had the summer camp for the rest of the kids that took place for basically the month of June, and they came being able to do math and reading. They did have an opportunity, those students who were close enough, like within 5 points of not passing the math test, and who came to the summer camp, they were able to retest on that and see if they can get a higher score. Again, we were able to capture some of those students coming in and getting just a little boost. And sometimes it's just that matter of, I just need to see the test again, right? In a smaller setting, they're not as nervous. And that's actually what we were able to do, is capture some of those. Kinder Camp, this is always a very fun, and talking about you just don't know what you're going to get. When Kinder Camp rolls around, that's actually happening this week. All of the new kinders get to come on campus for several hours of the day. They get to learn where everything is in the building, learn what it's like to be in a classroom, those procedures, and it gives our teachers an opportunity to lay eyes on what exactly are the immediate needs of these students coming in. But we've been very pleased with the amount of kids. We had 64
We have almost 85 to 90 kids in the building this week.
Yeah.
70, about 70 kindergartners and the rest new sixth graders.
Yeah, new sixth graders.
Mhm.
So we were super happy to see that many kinders coming in. That just tells us that we are going to be full starting the first day of school in kinder, and getting these kids in early to be able to have the opportunity to get a head start on certain things is just makes them feel more comfortable and confident coming in.
Wendy, I have
yeah.
a question regarding our demographics. Have you seen any changes in them in terms of socioeconomic, racial makeup of our
Yeah,
classes?
actually, Derek, what we've noticed in the past couple of years is that typically we have been really heavy in our K2 grade levels with the amount of English language learners.
Mhm.
And that has shifted. That's lessened in the past couple of years. And what we're seeing is our English language learners that are new to our school are coming in grades 3 through 7, and they're really, really heavy in those grade levels. But we're starting to see a increase of what's called newcomers, and those are the kiddos that are literally just coming into the country, and they're coming with hardly no English whatsoever. And so those numbers of newcomers are increasing, and most of them are happening within the middle school. So there's some big gaps that are taking place with those English language learners, specifically those newcomers coming in middle school. So we look at that as like, okay, let's all hands on deck. What are we going to do to grab these kiddos and help them be successful? And that's pulling any and everybody in that would be involved with that child and developing a plan of how to help them feel comfortable, number one, and just being able to navigate through the day, and then start immediately on learning English and vocabulary words and numbers and being able to communicate at basic their needs. And so, it can be a challenge, but we've noticed that our K2 ELL, English language learners, has lessened over the years. As far as the other pieces, socioeconomic, we continue to remain a very high free and reduced lunch population. I'll know more about those numbers once we get into school and we start to get those lunch forms in, so we can really see what those numbers are. But I do not anticipate it going down from where we were in the past. And typically we're close about low 70s, 70%
Okay.
school.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Number 4, no discipline data, because we didn't have kids in the building. Chronic absenteeism, there isn't anything to report outside of what was the last time. Number 6, progress toward charter contract goals. Just as a reminder, we will not get our EOG reading scores in until late September. And then we'll be able to have our reading and our math be able to be shared out with where we were. But also remember that the school's school letter grade will not be provided for schools this year, because the state just said there's no way for us to be able to calculate that. The data that we were given, will be given, will be able to be used just for our information only. And so as soon as I get that information, I'll share that with you guys. But I can tell you just from math at this point across the state and probably across the country, if we were to look more in depth, math was heavily hit for our kiddos and proficiency. So always, right? All right, number 7, key initiatives to meet and sustain goals. Actually, I want to take you to the board binder, page 4. In the board binder on page 4, you will find it is our parent satisfaction survey. This was the spring one. And if you scroll over to the bottom right, you'll see, first of all, just some highlights. We have out of 756 students, we only had 238 response counts. So that's actually quite lower. We have about anywhere between 350 to 360 on a typical year. We only had 238. I imagine that's just probably because of the year we had, people being inundated with everything, and they're just thinking, I just don't give me one more thing. But of the count of the 238, NHA always likes to look at what they call the top box, and that is going to be the category that's the rating of 5, that's highly satisfied. And so the big question is, overall satisfaction of our people who responded was 35%. Now, I like to take the top 2 boxes, because that is your highly satisfied and satisfied. That tells me out of those people, how many are really satisfied at this point with our school. And if you take the top box for the satisfaction piece, you'll see that it's 79%. of our folk are satisfied. And if you go down and combine all of those, we're averaging anywhere between 75 to 80% across the board on all of those questions for those top two pieces of highly satisfied and satisfied. The one that was the lowest one out of all of them, and that is I believe my child is making academic progress so far this school year. That's the lowest one. But honestly, again, given the year we've had with remote learning, in and out of school, and 2 days a week, I would suspect that definitely, but that's typically not a lower one for us. So definitely excited to see that's going to increase this coming school year because we will be having all students back into the building. Any questions about the satisfaction survey? Nope. All right. And then the next one is going to be the page 5, and that is our Eagle Awards. Eagle Awards are given to schools yearly based upon the following categories: employee engagement, schools of excellence, parent satisfaction, student attendance, student enrollment, and state accountability. And for Forsyth Academy, we did win a Eagle Award, and that was actually, crazily enough, in the area of student attendance. So that being that we ranked, out of all the schools in NHA, we ranked in the top 10 box. Top 10 schools who had one of the highest student attendance. But I can tell you that this was a daily, if not hourly, focus for us to ensure that we had the correct attendance. We knew where children are. We could tell you how many days they were in and how many days they were out. We could tell you what classes they missed online and so forth. So we work hard as a school to make sure that we have our fingers on where our students are for attendance, because we know in order to have a shot at getting our kids to be successful, they have to be in school. So I'm very happy Forsyth Academy did win that student attendance award. And if you'll go back to my principal's report.
No, sorry.
There we go. Yeah. Moral focus virtue. We don't have one for the summer. Staff updates. And I know we'll go into the new hires in a few minutes, but staff updates, you can see those are the new hires that we have that we'll talk about shortly. Vacancies at this moment, and I say that with a heavy breath. Hiring has been super challenging this year, more so than I could have ever said in my 15 years in administration. But we currently are sitting at having openings for 2 special education paraprofessionals. The reason they are open is because I took them and put them into classrooms. And then we need a Title I paraprofessional that we never really filled last year anyway, given everything that was going on. We just kind of did what we had to do. And so I'm looking to fill that part-time Title I para position. Don't have any current leaves at this point. And then upcoming events, it is on, and it's all about training. So opening professional development, staff development starts next week. That is every day. That is all day long. And we are all in meetings and sessions, getting our learning on, getting prepared and ready to roll this out for our students to be successful. We have 2 open houses this year, given the fact that I didn't quite know where we were going to be with COVID. I wanted to be very strategic about our open houses. And so for our existing families, they're going to get a virtual open house. We figured they don't really need to be in the building to see where their classroom is. They know where the kids are supposed to go, and the kids know what they're supposed to do, but they still need to be given the information about any updates. So we're going to be having a virtual open house for those guys on 8/12 next Thursday from 5:30 to 7. And then we're going to have in-person open house for our new families. And so that's really going to bring the numbers down. We're not going to have the massive 750 people walking in and so forth. I mean, it's a lot of folk in and out. We won't have that. We'll literally only have our new families coming in. Masks will be required. And instead of kind of going to the gym and integrating with everybody, they're going to go straight to their child's homeroom classroom. And so they'll be cohorted, if you will, even smaller, so they stay with that folk throughout the open house. And then they'll be able to speak to all of their teachers at that time. And then first day of school is that Wednesday, August the 18th. Can I believe it? It's here. But first day, but we are excited to have the kids back into the building and to get somewhat on the road toward a regular school year. So I know we still got some things going on. At this point, we are going to be doing masks required for everyone for the first 4 weeks. And then we will reconvene and look at it and see where we are at that point to see if it needs to continue or if it's something that we can lessen up on. But we figured it's a whole lot easier to lessen up on now later than it is to go harder. So we're going in with masks required for everybody.
Wendy, what's the status of vaccinations for faculty and staff?
I have not collected that data since last school year. So I'm not quite sure how many additional people gotten it over the summer. I do know that we're not fully vaccinated. I don't think there's a majority of our faculty. If I had to give a percentage, what I knew back when school ended, I would say probably about 60% of our faculty were vaccinated then. But I do know that several of them had actually said that they were going to do it over the summer as well. So I don't have those numbers.
Are you going to, will NHA continue to offer paid time off to get the vaccine?
Yep, absolutely. If that's what they're interested in, all they have to do is contact me and we'll set up the day. They just need to tell me what their day is that they're going, their appointment. And that's taken care of.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Are there any questions for Wendy?
I have a question. This is Erica. Just curious whether or not, or how we would know whether any of our children have been impacted by COVID and any special intervention for them, lost a loved one. I'm grateful that the eviction moratorium has been extended. So hopefully we're not dealing with homelessness
Right.
with any of our families, but just kind of how we plan to enter the new school year, not being done with the pandemic much
Right.
as the progress has been made.
That's a great question, Erica. And I'm so glad you said that. I don't know if you remember last board meeting or the board meeting before, but I talked about a social, emotional, and mental health plan that each school is put on. In that plan, each of the areas that you just discussed are completely laid out. How are you going to address, your teachers knowing all of these signs and symptoms? So signs and symptoms, all of these signs that we see of kids who are coming in with these issues. And so there are 6 hours of professional development that's actually going to be going on for our teachers, that they have to take these courses to become better aware of, what am I seeing? Is that a flag? Is that a trigger? To be able to know how to report it.
Great.
Also, we're doing a informal screening, if you will, at the beginning of the school year. Every teacher will take their class roster, and they're gonna, informally, as they're observing in the first 2 weeks of our culture building, they're going to be jotting down some notes if they see or hear that a child talks about, hey, I'm not living at home, being able to inquire a little bit more, making a note of that. Or you'll see that a child is just continually emotional and is not able to make this transition. That's also going to be noted. So what that'll happen is that those rosters will then be given to the administration.
Okay.
We will go through, we will start to pull those names and try to do some more digging, what we know about. Then we will partner with the social workers and the counselors at our school to devise a plan for each child as to what needs to take place next. How do we help them? How do we support them? A lot of times it's just being able to reach out to the family and say, this is what we're seeing, and them saying, yes, this is exactly what's going on. Thank you for taking care of my child, listening to them when they're upset. So that's where we're going and starting this school year, because we all know this has affected everybody. No one is exempt from this. And it's just a matter of how has it affected you and your family. And so we want to make sure that we call it what it is. Trauma happens to everybody. Everyone has it. How can we ensure that you as a student and this family are being able to handle that trauma? And if you need help, how can we help you?
Okay. I really appreciate that, Wendy. That's all very thoughtful. And I'm not that I thought that that kind of care and attention wouldn't be taken,
Yeah,
but I really appreciate you explaining that.
yeah, thank you.
And we've already had some families already contact the school, Erica. I think that speaks volumes about the culture and the relationship too. We already have some heads up calls coming in.
Good.
So the food pantry is still in effect. The clothes closet is still in effect. Ms. Spainhour, if you have any old uniforms you'd like to donate, we will take them off your hands. And of course, our 2 social workers. We, Forsyth is really good about that trauma approach anyway. So those things will continue. But yes, if you guys know of any of our families, please have them contact us so we can start wrapping our arms around them.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, other questions for Wendy? If not, then the next item up is our wellness policy triennial assessment.
Before we go to that, Derek, I just wanted you all to know that your board funds are sitting at $47,201.57 for any available future resolutions. It's on page 7 of your board packet.
This is an embarrassment of riches.
What's wrong?
No, we have more money right now than we have figured out what to do with. That's a good position to be in.
I can tell you that, I've got some on there that are waiting to be paid in the next couple of weeks because summer school, as these camps have ended and so forth. So that's going to be some pieces there.
Okay, and in the past, our goal has been to spend our money because it's
Yeah.
a limited amount of money. And unlike corporate, you use it or lose, and we don't have that. So if there's anything, Wendy, that you, especially any big ticket things, since we have this money available,
Yep, I will.
let's go ahead and use it for the benefit of the kids.
Yep. Thank you.
All right.
So that wellness policy triennial assessment piece is an annual piece that we all look at due to Forsyth being a part of the National School Lunch and of course school breakfast program. So we have to create a wellness policy with all the lovely requirements. And so you will find a summary of those rules, the triennial assessment policy that covers 18, 19, 19, 20, 2021 school years, as well as the board's wellness policy that we review every year. And I think that goes on for a few pages there. Any questions on the nutrition wellness plan that goes to page 16?
Well, I do have a question.
Sure.
So the goals for physical activity, I'm just wondering what physical activity is going to look like this year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so according to the CDC and all of the guiding documents that they give, that physical activity is back to somewhat normal. Masks are not required outdoors, but they still are indoors. Cohorting is no longer a necessity. So students are able to mix regularly outside, and so that's a good thing. That's not going to hinder any of that. And then in the classroom, as part of the wellness plan, one of the goals is to ensure that the teachers are still doing physical activities in the classroom, brain breaks, to get the kids up and moving, so they're not sit and get all day. But that will continue as well.
And I also have one more question, kind of touching on that. I know a few years ago, we had talked a little bit about incorporating some sort of yoga or de-stressing or some sort of coping mechanism for our children, for things that they go through. And I'm hearing that yoga has been successful in a lot of schools. I know that's kind of, I don't know, maybe trendy or hippie, I don't know. But I love yoga. And so I was just curious if there's any plans to maybe incorporate some of that into physical education.
So what I hear you saying, Tiffany, is that you're going to volunteer to be our yoga instructor? No, one of the pieces that I want to get back into place are after school clubs. We had to cut that. We cut that 2 years ago, but that was a lifeline for a lot of kids to be able to be a part of that and the sports program. So that's back on. So I could totally see being able to offer, a yoga class every now and then for the kids if they want to stay after. But so you let me know, Tiffany, if you want to be that yoga instructor.
I'll let you know.
Okay, any other questions on our wellness policy? Okay, safe return to school plan.
So, of course, it's about that time, and the final return, well, this is the draft return to school plan, which you have seen before. But I know that it's quite lengthy as we talk about the safe return for in-person instruction, continuity of services. And there will be public comment on this plan prior to the posting of the final version, but I think it's important just so that you have high level overview of what this plan looks like, boots on the ground at Forsyth. So I'll kick it to Wendy just real quick and see if you all have any questions.
Yeah, I think the key to note here is that what you see in this plan mirrors exactly, if not almost, what the CDC provides. So we as a company really have just adapted that CDC guidance and not veered off from it much at all. And so you'll find that that's pretty much this entire document. It mirrors that CDC document for schools.
Wendy, how are we doing the social distancing?
So the social distancing has been definitely moved from 6 to 3, and then in the comment it says 3 when feasible.
Okay, so it's not feasible?
No.
Okay. We have the same issue because our classroom seats 35 and you can't get but half of them in there if you follow the guidelines.
Right. So what the CDC continues to wrap around in this new guidance is the continual focus of masks. If students are masking, or people, not just students, but adults, if everybody's masking up, then that's going to lessen it. And if you can't do the physical social distancing piece, then the minimum you must do is masking at that point, right? Until we start to see some of these numbers go down a little bit. But that's what they continue to focus on, is the masking.
And we don't have any faculty, staff, or administrators who are reluctant to wear masks, do we?
No,
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of. They haven't shared with me. And just so you guys are aware, collectively, Forsyth County, Guilford County, and Lexington City schools, mostly your urban schools, if you will, large districts, are all requiring masks for the first so many weeks. But then all the other districts around us that are kind of in that suburban area, rural area, they are saying that masks are optional. So you'll kind of see that we as Forsyth Academy are following along with what Winston-Salem Forsyth County School would do, although we don't have to, but that's something that, again, I gave my reasons for that, but we'll revisit within the next 4 to 6 weeks when school starts.
Okay. This is all.
The good news is we're going into this and we know what to expect. We didn't know what to expect last time, so it feels so much better.
Okay, and our next item is the auditor planning communication.
Right. So I just know that Derek and Martine have received that letter. I can throw it up on the screen, Derek, if you want me to.
Okay.
And prior via email, it goes to the board president and treasurer. But I just sent it out over to them, just like, it was a while ago, it was June. So this is just talking about the upcoming audit and the planning of that at Forsyth. And it's just basically wanting to share the plan of, it's basically the communication plan of how they plan the audit. I know on page 2, there are a little more dates of how they, maybe it was the bottom of page 1. Right there, okay. So the planning and preliminary information gathering phase occurs during May 2021, risk assessment phase June 2021. The rest of the audit procedures will be performed during August and September 2021. I know that once the report is complete, I ask that they join a meeting and present that information to you all. And I think that that was favorable from the Forsyth board, and just wanted to check in to see if you like me to do that again for the upcoming school year, or if you wanted me to do anything different. But I wanted to make sure you all had that in front of you fresh.
Yeah, Melissa, in general, we don't have that many findings. I feel that this time probably they did because of COVID. This is it was a difficult year, but I would like to have every now and then we have somebody from Plan Moran to present every 3 or 4 years. So I think it would be probably a good idea to have him back.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Martine. Any other questions on this planning communication from the auditor board?
Okay. There are no questions. Then the next item is the board symposium.
Yes. Good. So that is coming up in October. And I think we just have to, 1, share the information, and 2, see if the board is interested, or if I have any board members interested in coming. So it will happen August 26th, 2021 at the Inn at St. John's in Plymouth, Michigan. Looks like format is 1 day, Tuesday, October 26th, with an optional dinner the Monday prior, October 25th. Registration site is expected to go live in early to mid-August. So probably by the end of next week, beginning of the site will be live to register. And there's a deadline to register of September 24th. And again, as in previous years, we will request a contribution from board funds for those attending to help offset the overall cost of the event. And you can see the breakdown below. So there's a little time to, oh, Carmen's in. She is interested. Thank you, Carmen. A little time to decide if you would like to still attend, but Tiffany's in, I'm in. Awesome. So just keep an eye out for that link.
Okay. Yeah, so we can plan on going ahead and allocating funds next month at our September meeting.
Sure.
So check your schedules and see if you're able to attend those. Okay. Is there a motion to enter closed session?